and today I am here to do my wrap-up discussion on Season 5 of Druck, which was, of course, Nora's season. I always like to do these, but I've been so bad about doing them lately. Like, I don't think I did one for Lola or Arthur, actually, and I definitely didn't do one for Kato, because I think we all know the less said about that season, the better. But Druck Season 5, it honestly blew away any and all expectations I had for it. This is the second, of course, of the remakes that has had its own like original character, and it's actually somewhat similar to Sconference because they both in a way did a season about a sister of either Daphne or Kiki, who is of course the counterpart of Vilda from the OG. So it was really interesting. I like that you can enjoy Lola's season and enjoy this season, and they're somewhat similar in threads of like mental illness but also very different in terms of storytelling and all that. I think the one thing I learned, one of the biggest things I learned many things from the season, was it was really just confirmation for me that Druck is truly one of the best remakes. And I know that's so like, not controversial, but like everyone just has their own remakes, which is completely fair, but I feel like in terms of storytelling and also like in comparison like what the OG brought of like using social media accounts, using clips, using music, I feel like Druck is truly the one that consistently brings it, and I think that's the biggest thing, is consistently. And having their own original season I feel like was really the test of, you know, how could they do on their own, and they did a great job. They had a few like cute callbacks to the OG too, which I really liked. Specifically with, there was a episode that I watched them clip by clip, but someone told me there was an episode that was 21 minutes and 21 seconds long, which is of course a very important well, not period, but like stamp, I guess, timestamp for Isaac and Evan, of course. And then we also had Josh and Nora had a similar moment where they agreed to take their relationship minute by minute, hour by hour, just to see how she's feeling in that moment. And it really was kind of like, not to constantly compare it to the OG, but I feel like a lot of people wanted an Evan season in the OG before they decided to end it. And I feel like this was kind of Druck's version of being like, okay, like we can give you an Evan season if that's what you want. And not necessarily like Evan, but just like the things people wanted about an Evan season of, you know, someone dealing with mental illness and stuff like that. And for Nora specifically, I mean, this was her discovering kind of her own mental illness. I really think I got hints that like there was obviously like she was overwhelmed with things, but I really thought that the main focus of mental illness would be on her mother's alcoholism, and her mom really didn't actually end up playing that big a part in the majority of the season. I think like the first half she did, but then afterwards it was kind of just focused on Nora. And I like that because I think that's how it is real life, of like sometimes you're just not okay, you know, like sometimes you have moments like she had where I always thought it was like panic attacks where she would just like not black out but like kind of zone out where she couldn't like hear anything, and I thought it was just her like removing herself from the situation, like her body being like, this is too much, like I don't want to deal with this argument that's going on. But then more and more as the season progressed, you saw that it devolved further and further as more and more stress was added onto her, and as she herself was kind of getting stressed out about like, I know something's wrong but I don't know what's wrong. And I think that's very realistic to how it is. It can just be like these little small things that you can kind of ignore and just be like, you know, I just had a bad day, and then all of a sudden it gets to be too much, and by the time you kind of almost realize what's happening, it's too late to really reach out and get that help because you're so far bogged down in all of it. And that's really what it was she was just getting torn down from, you know, not finding answers. I mean, we saw her specifically, she knew something was wrong, but she went to a doctor. The doctor did not really take her seriously or try and really find the root of her problems. And I think that again is something that's very realistic and was portrayed very well, especially for women who are often not believed in medical circumstances, whether mental or physical. So I really like that they included that, and I think they also did a great job expanding the cast. I know that like they kept obviously Kiki and Carlos, I think they were the only main two that we saw. We heard about Amir and stuff, but we only saw Kiki and Carlos, and this might be like the end for them, except for like maybe like the final season, their comeback, if like Zoe gets the season or something like that. But I think it was a nice way to include it, because I think what some of the other ones have struggled with is finding a way to balance new characters with old characters, because obviously like we're attached to the old characters, so we don't want them gone completely. And like with like a Sconference or something, I think it was hard to balance like Lola and her friend group with like us wanting to see like Lucas and Elliot and all that, and it just kind of made it so you didn't have enough time really for anyone, since you were trying to give a little bit of time to everyone. So I think only having mainly Kiki and then a little bit of Carlos helped bridge the gap of like old generation to new generation. And I think because we got to see Nora and Zoe hang out with Kiki, it made us, you know, already attached to them because like we love Kiki, Kiki loves them, so like A=C, like we're gonna love them. And I think it was a really good way of doing it without overwhelming it, because it was really just like we still got to meet Nora's new friend group, who are awesome, and we got to meet Josh and his friend and expand outside, you know, like Zoe's friends, the Tweedledee and Tweedledum, all this kind of different people. And I like that too, they are being very conscious of doing a more diverse cast, which I really like. So we have Ava and Fato, we've got Josh, we've got Finn, are all POCs, which is awesome. And then we've got, I always forget his name because like I was just like, whoa, Ishmael, who I know the actor is non-binary, like uses they pronouns, but I haven't heard anything specifically about Ishmael. Maybe that's something they'll explore in their season. So if I do say like he, I'm referring specifically to the character, since that's what we've seen other people in the actual show refer to them as. But if that changes, like, believe me, I will be using the proper pronouns. They're obviously played by a non-binary actor, like I said, and they throughout like this season were very kind of non-binary in their dressing and stuff like that, and that could be something that's explored really like interesting in a season with them specifically. I feel like them and Constantine, a season with them would be like, there is some stuff there that I want to dig into and be like, so what exactly is going on here? Because I feel like they also like, I don't know, like for so long, so many of the remakes in the OG where people were like wanted Isaac and Jonas to get together, or especially like Buttfuck really likes Raba and Jens together. Like I've read so many cute fan fictions for them, and I feel like maybe doing like Ishmael and Constantine would be like their kind of way of doing that, you know, like best friends where like one friend is in love with you and the other friend doesn't know it, and then like maybe they fall in love and it's really cute. Because I do feel like, obviously I feel like Nora's friends are going to get seasons, like Malin, Fato. I think Fato's going to be next, and then probably Ava, just based on what we found out about them. But I do think that it would be cool if we kind of got seasons for, I think Zoe would be really cool to get a season, but she might be too old, so I'm not sure. And then I also think having a season for like Constantine or Ishmael, like expanding it kind of like how Isaac wasn't in the girl group in the OG, would be really, really cool too. So I'm excited to see what else they do for that. I think just overall the season was freaking amazing. I also do think that, I can't say her name, but Kay Mai, I have to learn how to say it because I'm just like terrible at pronouncing things, but I think she might have feelings for Zoe, and I think that might be like explored in a Fato season, since Fato like likes her. She made out with that guy in the finale, but I think it was only after she was like very obviously staring at Zoe and Finn having made up and were making out, and then she made out with the guy, so I feel like there's something going on there. But overall, yeah, just a really great season. I loved Josh. I think he is truly like the modern day love interest of, you know, I feel like, because like I'm a girl who grew up with like early 2000s, mid 2000s CW, Freeform, when it was called ABC Family shows. So it's like the love interests in that were always just like assholes, you know, like they were rude or sarcastic or like did bad things, and like the girl would have to be the one to change them or be like, you know, you're not like other girls, I'm gonna like you, instead of like treating everyone else like crap. And just like fun to watch, but fundamentally when you start to think about it, not a good role model for a relationship to have, especially like during your like teen years when like you're like, oh, guys are great, like not fun. So I feel like having someone like Josh who was constantly open and communicative and caring and had a girl best friend who was literally just his best friend, there was never anything weird made about it or jealous made about it by anyone. And I think what really sold me on him was when, I think it was episode 4, maybe 5, Nora was having all those problems with her mom and everything, and she was trying to tell him like, I'm fine, whatever, and like kiss him, and he was like, no, I'm not letting you like kiss me and just act like everything's okay. Like he's like, tell me what's wrong, like clearly something's wrong. And that was a reoccurring theme of like, you know, he wouldn't just let her go and say everything's okay when it's not, which I think is the thing she did a lot, and that her friends had to realize more about her and let her not do that. And then he was just always so honest. Like even when he was telling her at the last episode when he couldn't be friends with her because like he liked her too much and it just hurt too much, he was very quick to say like, it's not your fault, and she was like, it's not yours either, and he's like, I know, it's just the way. And he's just a great guy, and I am so happy for all the girls and guys watching it that will see like that's how a relationship should be, is open and honest and healthy and respectful. And I just love Josh so much, and I love that that is, you know, who they picked for her love interest, because it really could have been like, I think they obviously could have gone with like making up with Constantine or something, so I'm glad that they gave her Josh and that they got their happy ending. I love Nora so much. I adore her. I think she is the absolute sweetest. And what I really liked about this season in particular, which I feel like is what they did so good because it sticks to that whole point of view idea, is that some of the things she did were butthole-ish. Like, they were asshole-ish, and we knew, because we were having her point of view, that there was a reason to it, and that, like, she wasn't healthy, she wasn't in the right mindset, and that made me very defensive when people picked on her. Or I don't even want to say picked on her, but, like, called her out on it, you know, like Ava did this a lot, Malin did this, and stuff like that, where they would, you know, call her out for not doing something because they didn't have the full picture. And I think that was great, because I know, like, had it been from someone else's point of view, I would have agreed that, like, Nora's being flaky right now, Nora's being rude. But because it was from Nora's point of view, like, you were defensive and like, no, like, she's going through stuff, guys, like, back off. And I think that just shows you how great a job they did of immersing you in the story and in someone's point of view, and really making you root for a character who just as easily from someone else's point of view could have been a person that you don't like, you know? And I think, I'm hoping, maybe that's why I'm hoping we'll get a Constantine season, because I think it would be really cool with how much I did not like him in this season, to get his point of view on things. I think that would be really interesting, because I think that's what this show and Scum originally is all about. It's about, you know, everyone you know is fighting a battle you know nothing about. So you have to be kind and remember that, and that's Nora's whole message, and that's what this is like, everyone has their stuff, and everyone has a whole world that you probably don't know about, you know, that's going on underneath. And we have hints of that with Ava, we have hints of that with Malin, we have hints of that with Fato. So I'm really, really excited to see where they're going to go and how they're going to explore the rest of this awesome new group, because I love them so much, and it's definitely, I mean, one of my favorite seasons, period. Like, remake or not, give me this season any day over some of the bad seasons of the original Scum. Not gonna name any seasons, but yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. So if you have any thoughts on it or predictions for the next season, leave, you know, everything down below, your favorite parts of the season, favorite characters, favorite episode, all of it. I would love to hear all of it, because I really, really enjoyed this whole entire season, and it was definitely something we needed this year. I like that they also adapted and included the pandemic in it, because I feel like with Buttfuck it felt very disjointed that they didn't. Like, it couldn't feel real. It was just kind of like, because it was taking place in the time of like when it should be happening, but they weren't addressing it. So I feel like Druck worked it into their story where it wasn't like a big thing, you know, and like overtook everything, but it was still there, which is how life is. So I appreciated that, and I really, really hope season 6 premieres soon. So thank you guys all so much for watching. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!